In the most current crime report by the Botswana Police Service, at the time of compiling this episode, there had been 6 cases of motor vehicle theft and 23 incidents of armed robbery that had claimed over 136,000 pula in cash in just the 1 week under review. From January this year until now, there have been 87 cases of murder, 684 cases of rape, 114 cases of car theft, and 512 cases of armed robbery. Rising levels of crime do not only put the individual at risk, but can be a big deterrent to business confidence in the entire nation. The police cannot be everywhere and are not enough to stop all crime, and thus the growing presence of the security service industry across the globe. The effectiveness and professionalism of security guards has, however, been called into question recently, and a recent conversation with both the men and women in this profession raised pressing concerns about their working conditions and placed much of the blame on those that operate these security companies. Tonight we discover that the problem does indeed come from a higher level, but it is one even beyond the owners and operators of local security companies. It is an issue with the regulation of the entire security industry, or more precisely, an absolute lack of standards that is the cause of an industry in disarray. We speak, however, to a man at the forefront of turning things around through the Security Association of Botswana, a man who prides himself on having been involved in the growth of the association. Join us as we begin tonight's program by speaking to Mr. Gaolate Mudongo, the chairperson of SAB. The chairperson of the association begins by answering as to whether the public's view of the security industry as being disorganized, casual, and untidy is a fair assessment.
It's not really a fair assessment because those who say they don't really understand what is going on in this industry, the challenges that we are facing, and those challenges are the reasons why people are saying we like that.
I would like for you to really detail the challenges this industry faces and, of course, the consequences of such challenges.
Maybe first and foremost, I must just explain to you the security industry broadly. You know, most security cover different areas, different trades. Renally alarms, renally cash in transit, and then we've got the guarding, which security guarding because they see our guards move around and then they say, no, this industry is very dirty, like one said. These trades, the challenges that trade the alarm, for instance. We do have our response team, they go there, sometimes they fall into a trap, they are armed robbers, and then, you know, those are the challenges because space, and there are those instances where we tell them screen they can't see inside, so ultimately they come back and say it's a false alarm. We tell challenge and then they came back and said no, we could repeat the false alarm, but false alarm because they couldn't give any report. You look at the cash in transit, we move large sums of money and we are using soft skin cars. Protection, they can be attacked anytime. You know, you go to the guards themselves, by lorry, the security guards, the foot soldiers. By you find that because of the client's instructions, I say in an area dangerous. tota kana ka go ntseng ka tela o ka lebella tota security lebella from the perspective ya mapodisi masole ga gona nako ka bona le sole le ya go attenda ka lepodisi le ya go attenda le nosi go supagala gore tota tiro ya security requires that o tshwantse go patilwe ke mongwe all the time. But mo situationeng ya rona o itela ga gongwe e le gore ga gona gore ka reng gadi o helela a posiwa le nosi mo mahilong a e le gore a kotsi bosigo, and that is a big challenge. Le gone mo ga gore now we've got everybody coming to security because people have a tlhaloganya gore security ke eng. They think you just come here and provide a guard and then kgwedi ya hela you collect the money and you go to the bank. There's so many challenges how similar to mo security, and government le ene o khotlatsa banana gore ba tsene mo dikgwebo, and this is one of the industry le batho ba fila gore ba ka tsena mo go yone motho and make a quick buck. That's why once they are in go nna bokete they resort to other tactics tse leng gore at the end of the day di senior industry. The tactics di tshwanang go sa duela ba bereki sentle. The tactics di tshwanang ha go mo itela ba hirile foreigners just because foreigners bone ba khona go accept madi a ko tlase. So those kind of things di hela di re senyetsa industry, and these are big challenges because little nice an association at times we detect those things, we look for the relevant officers like batho ba labor mapodisi, we report these things, we whistleblow, we also try by all means to read in because we are not happy or industry ya rona go ka teng ke industry e ka describe wang ka go buegang ka teng.
In our previous conversations with the men and women who work as security guards, they painted a bleak picture with regards to their work environment. We would like to emphasize before revisiting this conversation that these interviewees were making general statements from their personal capacity and not necessarily on behalf of the companies they work for.
Gona ka go pe mona tire dirwa ke tsone go sotega ya go thoka ditiro mare ka di shorties tse dingwe tse di re sotela mo go maswa ka o bona a go ngwa go tsena bo di 14 o ntse o bolo a ke tala go sa duelwe mme ba nga tiro bone go re hirilweng teng ba ntse ba sa bolo go duela ba ntse ba botsa gore ke eng le ka nna la re ga ra duela mme re sa bolo go duela mo nga lona na go tsela.
Are you aware of the complaints levied against you by employees, specifically the security guards? And if so, what are you doing about it?
Yes, I'm aware of some of the complaints. Most of them dita mana le dituelo tsa bone. Gona le mongwe go ya gore they're paid late, for instance. And how go ilebella o isala morago you find that most of the security companies they rely on government contracts and they are not paid on time. Wait till Havana the reserve, they just have to wait for the government to pay them. And then Baba hit setsa madi kuba bereki. Some of it kore Habadueli kanako. Habadueli madailori kirete kwadilo ya watsonto ba iduelo. They paid below the minimum wage rate. And zone di khantse le zone we take it up. Harry Itzili member our runa, we talk to our member, if he still doesn't do that, we take it up with the authorities. Member our runa, we do receive the complaints from Babereki, we take them up with the authorities, the controller, the police, Baleba, those are the people who can they follow up that particular company by the inspector. They take action.
The security industry in Botswana consists of nearly 2,000 companies that employ about 30,000 people, making it probably the second largest employer after government. Yet it commands very little respect in terms of its reputation and image. What needs to happen to give this industry its rightful place in the corporate landscape of Botswana?
First and for all, we're trying to do a proper regulation that befits this industry. That regulation, obviously, it the relevant and proper training standards. Trainer rubber grader, security, gradiwa, like you would know in construction. Construction companies are graded company e ka dira go tswa go ema ka gore e mo seemong se e ka dira go tswa go ema ka gore e mo seemong. So once we've come up with the right regulation, I think everything will fall in place. You would realize that if I were just to give you the figures, association in the members got 100 for your information, and these 100 members keep on they form the cracks of the security industry. By even the employment numbers but the companies registered as we speak, there are over 2,000, and there's 100 in the Security Association of Botswana. Then you would realize that there are 1,900 or so. We don't know where they operate from. Those are the people who operate from the butitsari koloi, from the briefcase. You know, you wake up one morning, you meet a guard, motor official unaikai, haiti, and those are the kind of people by lorry. A lot of people are engaged. Me, like we always say, liquor industry, but to have a river advice, river fair, the proper way of assessing a security company, engage. Because normally what the people do, they look at the price. Smamang is cheaper than Smamang. But then you don't look at the product, the service. Is that service going to be Hanka Hofasikai? Gadi salary we're looking at around 1.5 per month. And then a security company with type of a quote, 1.6, 1.7, 2,000. What's our quote here, and you're happy that you got a cheaper security company. Now, you don't look at what Abatuba. Baya go khona go duela gadi o madi a tshwantsura a duele. Ga sa duele madi ao, what is he going to do? He's going to look around go supplementa se a se bona. And the only thing that he's going to see around is your property. And then you don't even realize that problem. Who do you call? Because obviously the security company doesn't have an office. During the course of Gada Teohets, because they don't have the funds. Those kind of codes. Equipment how do you communicate with your office? How do you defend yourself? How often do the patrols how often go check? Wa parade go check are you fit for duty before you are being posted go tokomela. Utaziko itule motho o na le uniform because uta apere and o bona re motho a modimo a sokola ha go bona this person ha ja ha le setse la ja ka le la go la thadijo go that's been is there trying to ask you gore ke kopa madi a motsugo. Once you find yourself dealing with a guard of that nature, those are the signals that this guard is not being taken care of. And has a definitely you are not safe. Because you cannot there's other means to find them from you. Those are the things they will try to take into consideration. We engage a guard who make sure you are really safe and protected.
Despite its importance to the credibility of doing business in Botswana, the security industry is not only suffering from poor organization, but it is dominated by a demoralized workforce, some of whom no longer even see a way forward.
Tiro e kana ke tiro e borai ga re tshwana o kgona go ithela gore ga ngwe o tserela wa go lathelela mo sekgweng o tshotsa molamunyana hela le diaka dio tse ile gore ga o ke tsa go thusa ka sepa o ka tlhasela.
What could be the consequences of the challenges of low morale and poor organization in an industry that is so critical to the credibility of Botswana as an investment destination?
The consequences are that the public is in danger. Provide security,
For this industry to improve its image and change its second-class status and also be profitable and flourish in our country, what really needs to be in place? What needs to be happening?
I think, first and foremost, after putting the regulation in place, that being the first step, like I said, we also need now to get all stakeholders to know the role of security and to respect it. For instance, we see a lot of intervention. First and foremost, the night watchmen, which we don't understand what it means. So some people babatisa that thing into the whole industry. Night watchmen. We try to get the explanation of night watchmen. We want those other things still night watchmen to be removed so that we remain with security. And we've been engaging Mapodisi. The last time I was with the police commissioner, Mapodisi ba compita le rona, government compita le rona, ba tsa ditiro tsa rona. A go fese kae this desert race ya Manswabisa. How ka go lebella this is a private event. Wa go itela go tletse Mapodisi ba coverile tsela tse tsotle ile bone ba control ba bolela batho ba sutelle ko morago. And those things ke do tsile re ka bo didiro ke rona re dira di profits Mapodisi ba le ko officing. I've also said that more the event is the mecheana. You find that Mapodisi ba tletse ko ba controller traffic more parking, when in actual fact that could be done by private securities. Kitli physical ka siemo se tshwana sa ko show ko trade fair, where you find that Mapodisi ba tla ho hela ba bata ba fiwa officing yana ba nnang, and then you find that about 11, 12 to 15 security companies are engaged go run a show. Mapodisi they do the investigation. So those kind of things, once that are in place, re similar taloganya gore yo dira eng o tswa kae go hella ha kae, yo dira eng go tswa kae go hella ha kae, le wena o kgona go itse gore ha o re o batla security o batla re seta go dira eng go wena. And then it becomes clear. We don't want a situation where you ask for a guard, then the next thing you tell a guard, you must know that that is a professional.
The mineral-led development of the Botswana economy in the post-independence period resulted in the rapid growth of, among others, the financial sector. From only 2 commercial banks to the 10 or so we see now, a number that is set to increase, however, taking into account applications to the central bank. This rapid increase in numbers has resulted in stiff competition between banks, especially over the retail sector. With only slight differences in what they offer, how does a financial institution differentiate itself from the pack? Trends indicate that it may be a focus on the customer's experience and care that will win over consumers that are now spoilt for choice. To help us gain an appreciation of how commercial banks are going the extra mile to grow and retain their share of the highly competitive retail sector, we speak to Khopudiso Justine Basiami. She provides details on some of the tactics being used to gain a competitive edge.
Competitive edge is very important in each and every business. As West Bank, our representation on the dealership floors gives us that edge. Having said that, service is the number one issue that we have to focus on as well. And we are saying as a bank, the strategy around service excellence is in place.
Are there any benefits to the consumer for this in-house representation in dealerships?
As a consumer, we understand the stress that goes with any purchase. So we don't want our customers to be running around from a dealer to a bank. What we have done is that we've placed ourselves as a one-stop shop. The moment you walk into a dealership, there is a finance house inside the dealership. You can always go there and get a quote instead of dealing with a salesman, walking out of the dealership and going to your bank to actually be assisted. We are saying it's a hassle for customers. Go into a dealership, get out of a dealership with a solution that is provided for you.
Taking into account that the consumer is under financial strain in these times, I'm certain that many are considering cheaper options for their vehicles.
Yes, very much so. We've got a package that we call private to private finance. As an individual or as a business, we help you or assist you with a package for financing a used asset. Whether it's a vehicle, whether it's a truck, whether it's a tractor, we can also assist customers with that.
Have you taken any measures to counteract this decline in demand?
Yes, the decline in demand will be offered by what more can we do to ring-fence our portfolio. So in terms of collections as well, you need to offer customers the benefit of the doubt, because they will come in and tell you that, it's very tough. I cannot actually continue to service the debt that I've got with the bank. Obviously, we've got measures in place that we can also assist our customers.
You touched on the next point I did want to ask. What happens when a customer does default on their loan? What is the correct way to go about things? I know a lot of people get scared, they don't want to pick up the phone calls from their bank, and there's actually a breakdown in communication. Which ways should a customer handle that type of situation?
I must admit, it's a very painful experience for any human being to actually go under that. A lot of businesses have suffered, a lot of lives have been destroyed, but as a bank, we are a caring bank. And we've said, under distress or under the conditions that you find yourself in, be in a position to engage the bank, talk to the bank, and we will come up with a solution. There's no point in hiding the assets or finding means that you will literally ignore the bank's communication to you. In the long run, it doesn't really pay off. You've got to always engage the bank. We are partners in this business.
What types of solutions could you offer then to a client that's really struggling to service their loan?
We will not go out in the public and say, well, this is what we can really offer, but we'll treat it case by case. I mean, for a lot of instances, for businesses, for example, they might actually find that the payments are not coming through, whether they're dealing with government or parastatals or any other stakeholder that they've got in their business. In most cases, the bank has got solutions around cash flow problems.